Flying feels routine until it doesn't. Most passengers board, settle into their seats, and assume the real risks of flying are rare and obvious. Turbulence, weather, mechanical problems. But once those cabin doors close, you're in a very controlled environment with rules most passengers are never taught. And small choices can have a bigger impact than you realize. After thousands of hours studying cabin procedures, passenger behavior, and aviation safety, I learned this. What you don't know doesn't just affect comfort. It can affect how safely and smoothly your flight goes. In this video, I'm sharing 15 important air travel insights for 2026 that most passengers never hear about. We'll explain why a firm landing is often a sign of skill, what you should know about airplane water, and why something as simple as your footwear matters more than people think. Stay with me to the end, because once you understand how these hidden rules work, you'll see air travel very differently, and you'll board your next flight more prepared than most passengers around you. 15. The controlled crash paradox. Have you ever experienced a landing that felt less like a touchdown and more like a controlled collision? Before you blame the pilot's skills, you need to understand the physics of a wet or snowy runway. In bad weather, a smooth landing is a dangerous landing. Pilots intentionally slam the aircraft onto the tarmac to break through the layer of standing water or slush. It's called a positive landing. If they tried to be gentle, the tires might hydroplane, skidding across the surface like a car on ice. That jarring impact is actually the sound of precision engineering saving your life. Next time you feel that heavy thud, don't complain. Thank the person in the cockpit for choosing grip over grace. 14. The Sahara in the sky. If you've ever stepped off a plane feeling like a human raisin, it isn't your imagination. It's a byproduct of aviation engineering. Humidity levels on a modern aircraft in 2026 often drop to 10 or 20%, which is drier than the Sahara Desert. Why won't airlines just install humidifiers? Because moisture is the enemy of metal. At 35,000 feet, even a tiny amount of condensation can lead to long-term corrosion in the airframe. The airline prioritizes the structural integrity of the plane over the hydration of your skin. This is a biological tax you pay for speed. Your counter strategy must be aggressive, high-intensity moisturizer, lip balm, and at least a liter of water. If you land looking like a zombie, it's because you let the cabin air win. 13. The tray table trap. When the flight attendant tells you to put your tray table up for takeoff, it's not a request for politeness. It's a clearance of your escape route. In an emergency, every second counts. A deployed tray table is a physical barrier that can trap you or the person next to you during an evacuation. The same applies to your seat recline. A reclined seat in front of you can jam your legs or make the brace position physically impossible. Upright seats save lives because they create the maximum possible space for human movement. It's not nagging. It's survival 101. 12. The sleep selection error. Napping during takeoff or landing is one of the most common mistakes travelers make. First, there is the barotrauma risk. Your ears need to equalize pressure rapidly as the plane changes altitude. Yawning, swallowing, or chewing gum are active biological responses that prevent your eardrums from stretching or even rupturing. You can't do any of that if you're snoring. Second, the vast majority of aviation incidents occur during these two phases. If something goes wrong and you are unconscious, you lose the precious seconds needed to react. Stay alert until the double chime signals you're cruising, then you can knock out guilt-free. 11. The onboard water mystery. You might want to think twice before ordering that hot cup of coffee or tea. In 2026, many frequent flyers still don't realize that hot drinks on a plane are not made with bottled water. They are made from the plane's onboard storage tanks. Studies have consistently found harmful bacteria in a significant percentage of these samples because those tanks are notoriously difficult to clean. Furthermore, you should never pour a hot drink yourself on a moving plane. Flight attendants are trained to handle boiling liquids amidst turbulence. You are not. If you value your stomach and your safety, stick to bottled water or juice. The barista quality isn't worth the biological risk. 10. The fizzy delay. Ever notice how it takes forever for a flight attendant to pour a Diet Coke? It's not laziness, it's atmospheric physics. The lower cabin pressure causes carbonated beverages to foam far more aggressively than they do on the ground. Diet Coke is the worst offender. A flight attendant can often serve an entire row of water or juice in the time it takes to pour one can of soda. If you're thirsty and want to be the favorite passenger in your row, Skip the bubbles. It saves the cruise time and gets you your drink faster. 9. The tray table filth. You probably think the lavatory is the grossest spot on the plane. Science says you're wrong. The tray table in front of you is statistically 8 times dirtier than the toilet flush button. Why? Because while bathrooms are cleaned frequently, tray tables are often overlooked during the rapid turnaround between flights. People use them to eat, sure, but they also use them to change diapers, rest their bare feet, or sneeze. In 2026, your first act upon sitting down should be a sanitization sweep. Wipe that tray, the armrest, and the seatbelt buckle. Don't be the person who eats off a surface shared with 50 strangers' germs. 8. The window lean mistake. The window seat seems like the perfect place to rest your head, but the glass and the surrounding wall are a germ smorgasbord. Think about how many thousands of foreheads have leaned against that exact spot before you, leaving behind oils, sweat, and bacteria. Those walls are rarely, if ever, wiped down. If you must lean, use a clean hoodie or a dedicated travel pillow as a barrier. Sleeping directly against the plane's interior is a high-altitude gamble with your skin and your health. 7. Emergency footwear intelligence. Flip-flops and high heels might look cute at the gate, but in an emergency, they are a liability. If you have to evacuate down an inflatable slide, high heels will be confiscated or left behind because they can puncture the slide. As for flip-flops, do you really want to sprint across hot tarmac, jet fuel, or broken glass in bare feet? Your footwear is your first line of defense in a crisis. Wear sturdy, closed-toe shoes with grip. You might not win a fashion award, but you'll keep your skin intact when it matters most. 6. The overhead projectile. Just because you can lift your bag into the overhead bin doesn't mean it's safe. During severe turbulence, those bins can pop open, turning your 20-pound suitcase into a flying weapon. People have suffered life-altering injuries from falling luggage. If your bag is heavy or awkward, keep it under the seat in front of you. It lowers the center of gravity and ensures that a bad bump doesn't end with someone in the hospital. Pack lighter. Your back and the passengers around you will thank you. 5. The barefoot prohibition. Going barefoot on a plane is a social and hygienic disaster. Beyond the silent judgment of your seatmates, the carpet on an aircraft is one of the dirtiest surfaces you will ever touch. It has seen decades of spilled coffee, vomit, and contagious foot conditions. And never, under any circumstances, walk into the lavatory without shoes. That liquid on the floor? It's almost never just water. If you need comfort, wear thick socks or bring lightweight slippers. Treat the cabin floor like a public sidewalk, because that's exactly what it is. 4. The slide temptation. The emergency exit handle is not a toy, and it's not a fast track to the terminal. Deploying an emergency slide out of frustration or curiosity is a federal crime that will cost you thousands of dollars and likely land you in jail. Repacking a slide is a massive technical operation that can ground an entire aircraft for days. Unless there is smoke in the cabin or the crew gives the order, keep your hands far away from that handle. The shortcut will only lead to a courtroom. 3. The visibility protocol. Why do flight attendants insist on open window shades during takeoff and landing? It's about emergency visibility. If a fire breaks out or an engine fails, the crew needs to see which side is safe for evacuation in a split second. If the shades are down, they are flying blind. Your desire to block the sun is secondary to the crew's need to see a clear path to safety. Keep the shades up. That tiny window is the crew's most important diagnostic tool. 2. The explosion risk. Cabin pressure changes can do strange things to pressurized containers. Spray deodorants and shaving creams can leak or, in rare cases, explode under extreme pressure changes. This is why many airlines are tightening restrictions on aerosols in 2026. Stick to solid deodorants and non-pressurized toiletries. And never ever pack a power bank in your checked luggage. Lithium batteries can catch fire if they short circuit. And a fire in the cargo hold is much harder to fight than a fire in the cabin. Keep your energy high, but keep it in your carry-on. 1. The scanner truth. There is a lingering fear that airport scanners are damaging our health. In 2026, the data is clear. The radiation from a TSA scanner is negligible. In fact, you receive more radiation from cosmic rays during a 1-hour flight at 35,000 feet than you do from walking through 1,000 scanners. The staff stands next to these machines all day. If they were dangerous, the insurance premiums for the airport would be impossible. Step through, smile, and move on. The real risk is the altitude, not the security gate. Flying in 2026 is an exercise in navigating a world of invisible systems. When you understand the unwritten laws, from why the plane lands hard to why the coffee is a risk, you stop being a passive passenger and start being a master of the sky. You've secured your health, your safety, and your dignity. I want to hear from you. What is the one thing you learned today that will change your next flight? Was it the tray table filth or the footwear warning? Drop a comment below. I read every single one, and your experience might save another traveler from a high-altitude mistake. If these secrets changed your perspective, hit that like button and subscribe to join our community of elite travelers. Safe travels. Fly smarter, not harder.